This week, we're taking a flight on a Boeing 777-200 to Amsterdam. But first, I need to drop off my mother-in-law at the terminal because she's flying not my airline back home to Oregon. Her flight leaves at 3:30, mine leaves at 3:35. And anyway, I can drop her off and then head over to the employee lot. And then I can get this whole thing started. My name is Darren. I'm a dad. I'm an airline pilot. I'm a husband of a scientist. And I just dropped off my mother-in-law. She's going home. Been home with her for 4 days. Lovely woman. And I am going to go back around to the employee lot so I can go to Amsterdam. I've never been to Amsterdam before. New trip for me. FB. Cool thing is, there's an FC, meaning two relief pilots. Why? For this short flight-ish. Because there is a check airman and a new captain being trained. So, with a four-pilot crew, it is so much less work. And again, I've had this happen before where I thought it'd be a super easy trip, but then the captain was a previous wide-body FO, didn't need that much help. But I should still have a good, I think it's a 9-hour flight there. So I should have like 4 hours off, I'm guessing. Maybe 3.5 hours. Let's get in at 1 in the morning Dallas time. So, the only issue I have, and it's not an issue, it's just a thing. 777-200, the bunks I don't care for very much when there's two pilots. So if the other pilot wants the bunk, I'll go to the seat. We have two first class seats. I'll put on my eye mask. I'll be fine. On the way back, we'll have to see if I use bunker seat or not. But this trip came up this morning. I haven't used very much, and I'm happy to have a trip. They called me about 11:30 for a 2:35 sign-in. Plenty of time. Bag was already packed for my last trip to Rio. That didn't happen. So just had to iron the shirt and double check the bag and head to the airport. Let's go. So this trip was a total surprise to me. It got assigned to me right around 11 o'clock, coming around 11:30, and gonna have plenty of time, right? Because it's a 2:35 sign-in time. I first tried KCM. I was picked for random, so around to normal security. And once I was done with that, I got into the terminal and head down to the crew room to see if I could find the captain because he was doing IOE. And when they're doing IOE, they sometimes don't want certain things done as far as a pre-flight, so they can show their student. In this case, the student was a former Airbus captain. He was a domestic-only Airbus captain for at least 10 to 15 years. I know this because he knew nothing about international operations, which is fine, right? That's why he's here. He's here to learn. But it was pretty eye-opening that he only did just domestic, just the United States. He's very, 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 very senior. So he never left the continental United States over at least the last 10 years. Yeah, a little bit different. Boeing 777-200. Again, this is the majority of our fleet on 777 is the 200. The crew rest area, not my favorite. It's fine. Again, I'm FB, so I'll be sitting in the middle of the flight deck. The FC is on the right side of me. Interesting enough, the FC, the other relief pilot, and the check airman were both hired on the same day. In fact, they were all at least 7,000 plus numbers senior to me, and they're all in their 60s. I was the youngest by a good shot. Anyways, this is kind of my view. You can see from the back of the flight deck as the FB right in the middle. Nice view. My seat does go forward and back and up and down. The other jump seat on the flight deck does not move at all. After departure at Dallas, we left from the D gates. We went taxied over to runway 17 right. For departure is a shortened runway. We had numbers for that. We had numbers for all the runways in Dallas, including the shortened runway due to construction. We did the ZAC 4 departure, and of course, this one does have a crossing restriction right at J Girl, about 5,000 feet. We couldn't make it today, so they gave us a heading to follow. Then out to BSCAT, and then across the United States. Again, as a relief pilot, I'm gone pretty quick. So once you take off, I'm gone pretty quick to start my rest. I resumed my flying duty, so to speak, in the captain's seat over the ocean just prior to, I think, because they did have to go onto the tracks because, again, the captain was brand new to the international flying. So I believe they started the track right at, I think we went right up front, right past 50 North. And then I was up front for most of the rest of the flight. The new captain wanted to be up front 1 hour prior to arrival, which is a little bit longer than normal, but again, he's new. We did, coming into the Amsterdam area, we did the LAMSO to Alpha arrival. Pretty easy arrival. Sugal, between 10 and 7,000 feet. And of course, the arrival ends at Sugal. And if you look at the approach chart, there's a transition, but Sugal goes straight to the VOR. They're never going to do that. They give us vectors around to join the final. The check airman, flew the leg over there, which many check airmen will do if it's your very first time flying the aircraft. They'll offer it anyway. Uh, he's flying from the right seat, not his normal seat, of course, but he's trained to fly from the right seat. Made a good landing on 18 right. There was a little bit of cognitive dissonance, I'll say. We had briefed 18 center, and we had thought we're going to 18 center. We got 18 right. So when we landed, there was a small bit of like, wait a minute, as they gave us our taxi instructions, because we're all listening for taxi instructions, and they told us to taxi to Whiskey 13. And we're like, Whiskey 13? And I was getting the 18 center area, like, I don't see Whiskey 13. Of course, we're on 18 right. We got that figured out. We did ask if we can continue our taxi straight ahead on Victor Sierra versus going over to Victor, because it made it easier to go straight versus a turn. Not an issue. Over to the gate, and we were done.
Once we arrived at the gate, we deplaned fairly quickly. One thing I find interesting at this airport and many other airports in Europe, you're just dumped into the terminal with people that are departing. Like, we haven't cleared customs yet, and there's people next to people who are getting ready to leave Amsterdam. In the United States, that's not how it is. You're always separated to go through customs before you mix the general terminal. It's just different. Nice weather outside, a little windy, but very nice day. It was like in the 90s or so, and the hotel we stay at isn't too far from the airport, because the airport is not out in the country, so to speak. Got to the hotel, checked in, and kind of relaxed for a bit. I went to sleep for about 4.5 hours, actually. I was pretty tired. I actually avoided going out with the crew because I was so tired.
Before I get started, I'm going to record video of me recording video. I have this set up on a trash can so I can record the video. I hope you appreciate the links I go through to do this video. So we're in Amsterdam now. The flight here was mostly okay. I guess to go back to the beginning, I got called around 11:30 for a 2:35 sign-in time. No, it is what it is. And this came out of nowhere, right? So I woke up yesterday morning having no idea where I was going to go. For whatever reason, this came in open time, assigned to me. I was the first pilot to go. That was legal for the trip. Anyway, 2:35 sign-in time. It is an IOE trip, meaning the person in the left seat is a new captain. So in the right seat was a check airman that actually did part of my training initially on 777. There was an FC, a other relief pilot who's very senior, and all the seniority was around the same seniority, meaning they're all about 8,400 numbers senior to me. No, 7,400 numbers senior to me. They can all hold 777 captain in Dallas. Very experienced crew. Plane came in a few minutes late to Dallas. We boarded, and we could have left on time, or close to on time. Yeah, maybe 20 minutes late. Did our duties, yada, yada, yada. I did the outside pre-flight. The other relief pilot did the inside and made the bunks. And I did my outside pre-flight and didn't see anything wrong. Boarding started, all good to go. And then about 20 minutes prior to our new departure time, a ramp personnel came up to the airplane and said, "Hey, I found 3 missing screws on the outside wing. I want to let you guys know." Now, as the relief pilot, FB, I'm closest to the exit door, to the entry door of the flight deck. So I was volunteered to go outside and see what he found that was missing. So I went outside, and he pointed to 2 missing screws on the captain side wing and 1 on the FO side wing. And I had a hard time seeing they were missing. I'm not allowed to just climb up these stairs he had to go look. That's not my work routine, right? I've never been trained in operation of these stairs on wheels. It sounds silly, but you don't do stuff that you're not trained or explicitly allowed to do. So I used my phone and I took a picture best I could of what he said were missing screws. They would look really like dark holes to me, but okay. Called our maintenance personnel, and they said, okay. Then a
ramp supervisor, or the crew chief, sorry, of that gate came up to the flight deck and said, this new guy, he found some missing screws again. Like again, apparently he found them next door on another airplane that was also delayed. So, okay. And he said, and the crew chief said he thinks they're missing as well. He didn't see them when he did his walk around also. They all do walk arounds like I do. So the maintenance personnel came onto the airplane, asked where they were. I told them where they were. About 20 minutes later, came back and said, hey, you're missing just one screw. The other two screws that he said they were missing, they were there. They're just dirty. They're back then, but they're there. So we took about a total of an hour and 10-minute delay, is what it is. Launched out of Dallas, 17 right, shortened. Captain took off because it was the check airman in the right seat took off. The new train captain did not fly the leg. Normal climb out, and it was funny. So when I, as a normal relief pilot, when we climb up, I'm watching the printer to print out the slip of our time and waypoints to make the rest schedule for the whole crew. Well, this relief pilot next to me, he's very, very senior. He's been playing a long time. He did the numbers for rest in his head. Well, I'm using this app. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess that's our rest time. And he was very close to what I had anyway. About 3.5 hour break per person. So we again, it's 777-200. Not my favorite rest area. So I chose the seat, not the bunk, on the way there. It was, it's 4:30 in the afternoon, 5 in the afternoon. I'm not super tired to go to a bunk anyway. Went to the seat, and I slept for about an hour and a half, 2 hours in the seat. Then I woke up because it was close to our, after all said and done, close to our time to go up front. But they hadn't called us yet. Well, with IOE and the captain who was being trained, the person in the left seat, they were domestic only pilot for a long time. They haven't done much international flying at all. They're very senior when they're domestic, so they did a lot of just only continental United States flying. So you had a little bit extra time with them on the getting out onto the tracks portion, right? Once they were cleared onto the tracks, got all that stuff, we went up front. I was in the left seat as FB, and I was just on the radio since the person in the right seat, the check airman, took off, right? So the FC, other relief pilot, was flying that leg. Okay, we had a great tailwind, 120 knots on the tail, really fast, good tailwind. Zoom along, no issues at all. Got into their airspace, and they came up front about an hour before arrival. And for my first time ever here, so we made sure we looked at all the possible contingencies for arrival, yada yada. Check airman made a great landing on 18 right, and then a little bit of confusion on taxiing, and not that big of a deal. Got to the gate, automated parking. He pulled up a little bit too far, and everybody knew at some point we all have a first day, and he was taking his turn a little bit too quick, but he'll get it. Got to the gate, deplaned, and we got to the hotel right about 9:45 local, which is 2:45, I believe, in Dallas. I'll put the correct time here. And I'm wiped. I'm ready to go to bed. They say, hey, Darren, what time do you want to go out today? I'm like, I don't want to give you promises. I just want to go take a nap for a while. And I slept for longer than I should have, because right now it's 2:30 in the afternoon. I should have slept about 12:30, maybe 1 o'clock. So it is what it is. Still have a nice long overnight here. So I'm going to not call the wife right now because she's getting the kids ready for school. And I'm going to go explore Amsterdam, get on the metro. I've been here twice before. Once with my family a long time ago by car when we came to Brussels and we drove up here. And once I took a day trip up here like a year or two ago just to come to Amsterdam for a day. But I never used a metro, I don't think. I just used a train from the airport. So I'm pretty sure it's tap to pay. All right, but now we'll go see what I'm doing out in the in the city. And that is a thing on my wall. Okay, here we go. So after a nice long nap, longer than I should have had, I went out and got sunlight on my face and went out to explore. Amsterdam, like many European cities, big cities anyway, is very walkable, and they have a great public transportation system. You just tap your phone, tap your credit card, and you're on your way. Again, very fancy, very modern. Went out to the city center, I guess the downtown station, better wording, and just walked around. Again, I've been here twice before. Once on a day trip by myself a couple years ago, then once with my family many years ago. Great city. Easy. I mean, it's very easy to walk around and see things, and that's what I did. Again, on overnights, I tend to walk 3 to 4 miles to help get ready to go to bed later on that evening. It was about 90 degrees, I think, so it wasn't really hot at all this day, but pretty crowded downtown. Lots of bikes, which is very common in Europe. So I didn't really want lunch. I've been on semaglutide since January. I've lost about 40 pounds, and so I ate very little compared to what I used to eat. So I walked around. I said, you know what? I want some French fries, and I had these amazing fries last time I was here. So I went to go find them again. And on the way there, I saw again the most adorable and awesome little car. I wish I could have one of these in the United States. This would be a great airport car. But Americans, they like big, giant vehicles. So I'll probably never see this in the United States until it's like 25 years old and I can import one. And at that point, it'll be trash. But when I see this car, I like it and I appreciate it. I went and found my French fries, found I found a bench and enjoyed my fries and a nice Coke Zero. Again, I'm just taking my time. I had no real agenda on this particular day. I truly appreciate how so many cities are so walkable. Again, bike paths, walking paths, subways. It is very easy to get around. Europe versus most US cities, you have to have a car. You could easily not have a car in most European cities. After walking around quite a bit, I wasn't starving, so I just got something sweet to eat. I got a fresh, I'm gonna say it wrong, stoop waffle. I got Smarties and some marshmallows. Then after enjoying that, I did a little bit more walking, and I came up across this debauchery. These college kids drinking and dancing and jumping into the river. I don't know why. I'm assuming it's a fraternity. Reminding me of my fraternity days. Again, they had a great time. Once I was done there, I said, you know what? I'm done for the day. Headed back to the central train station to go back to my hotel area and then find a grocery store. Um, I, depending on the schedule, and this one we had an early morning departure, mid morning departure. I wanted to have my own breakfast in my room. So I went and just got some light snacks for the evening and then enough stuff where I can have breakfast in the room before we head into the airport. It's just easier that way. I could get up and have breakfast in the hotel, but I'm cheap and it's easy to skip and get my own breakfast in my room. Again, it was about 6 in the evening in Amsterdam, which I think was 11 a.m. for the right time on the screen in Dallas. And I'm having to make myself get tired, right? Uh, called the family. I actually called this my wife because my kids were still in school. Called my wife, checked in with her, and then I went to bed. Woke up the next day, and here is the next day's pre-departure brief.
And good morning. It is currently midnight 44 in Dallas. It's 7:44 here in Amsterdam. Ready to go to the airport. Good night's rest. One thing I do on overnights, I sleep. I go out and see the city, as you probably saw in the video, but I sleep, and I don't want to go to work tired and grumpy, or of course unsafe. So I had a good night's rest, right? And I'm avoiding coffee in the morning because when I get to the airport, we have a 10 o'clock departure. Well, by 10:30 or so, I'll be in rest again, right? So no point in me having coffee right now just to go to bed in 3 hours. 3 hours? Less than 3 hours. So there's that. Amsterdam, very cool city. It's my third time here. So I saw enough that I wanted to see, just little dabs and everything else. Get back home today, and the plan is to arrive around 1:30, home around 2:30. It takes an hour to go from the plane to home. I live 9 miles away. And then I'm going to be selling my car and going in a Chevrolet tomorrow morning. We'll see if this works out, the timing wise. I have a 4 o'clock appointment to sell my car and getting a new car tomorrow morning. It could work out horribly, but it could work out very well. We'll have to see. But of course, I'm selling my car, so they want my car. Anyways, yeah. Also, interesting hotel room. I called my wife, similar view, and this man above my bed she kind of like, who is this man above your bed? I cannot explain to her who this man is above my bed. Oh yeah, I have no glasses on. Okay, glasses are on now. Oh, they're pretty cool glasses too, by the way. All right, let's go to the airport.
So I packed most of my bag the night before. Got up in the morning and just a last minute packing things I need to still get done, and then head out the door. Leaving things behind in hotels is a horrible idea. I've done it like maybe twice in 17 years. I'm pretty good about making sure I don't leave anything behind. Um, Went downstairs, got on a nice fancy bus. One perk of flying international, we have really nice transportation. And kids, wear your seatbelt. The crew security at the airport, I can't show you, but is extremely nice and pleasant. One of the most pleasant experience I've ever had going through security. They're so nice and pleasant, better than London. So we had a 4 pilot crew. It's normally a 3 pilot crew, and we had to have an extra first class seat blocked off. So I went down the jet bridge and then back up the jet bridge. But I couldn't get through this door. But then my flight attendants were on the other side of the door, and said, "Hey, Darren, can we help you?" I said, "Yes, we need to block off 2A." He said, "Don't worry, they know." So I went back down the jet bridge for a second time. I walk a lot as a pilot. I love this airplane. This is my view. This is a panoramic photo, but this is my typical view. I sit in the middle as an FB. Love a 777. Great view. Push back from the gate, and it's kind of weird there. They have some one-way taxiways around the gate area. Again, the captain was brand new taxiing. This is only a second time actually moving the actual airplane. Now, as far as our departure from Amsterdam, it was it's a pretty short taxi, and that's something as a captain you have to put into your head as far as how long is the taxi going to be. Because if it's a really short taxi, you don't want to move right away because the flight attendants have a lot of duties to do in the back of the aircraft, so they are briefed for short taxis. Again, this isn't a crazy short taxi, but it's not a long taxi either. And as you can see, we were leaving from gate D43, and the pushing back, we had to go straight onto Alpha 13, which ground does control this area. You can see on the chart there. Alpha 13 around the Alpha. Clearance told us to expect an intersection departure from Sierra 6. That is a shortened, runway, and we had numbers for that. We were actually given full length at Sierra 7, which we didn't have to get new numbers for because we already had numbers for the shorter portion, so they account for the longer portion. Now, if it was the other way around, they told us to expect Sierra 7, and they gave us Sierra 6, we have to stop and get new numbers for Sierra 6. And if we have the numbers for shorter, we can take longer. The numbers for longer, we can't take shorter. But we departed, and again, it's captain's very first takeoff in the real plane. Pretty easy departure. Just a few fixes, one above 2,500 feet, which is like 7 miles from the runway, whatnot. Pretty easy to do. Out to Bergie, and then we just joined the flight plan over to the United States. I slept for a good amount of time and came up just prior to Booty, I believe, and was up front for the remainder of the flight. Pretty easy flight, longer than London, and it's not London. But let's continue on with this next portion. The arrival into DFW. We're on the Seaver 4 arrival. We have a lot more names in the US than they have overseas, at least in Amsterdam, Netherlands. You can see all the fixes there. Please, Chumley, just switch them. Kind of funny. And today, on the ship, I learned about a new one. I was pronouncing the last one yapped. No, it's yeah, buddy. Is it yeah, buddy or yapped? What's your opinion on that? But we got 17 Center as the runway. Again, this is my second time on the east side of the airport on the 777. The captain made a great landing, and we had a nice long taxi from 17 Center. It's called the Echo Sierra route over to the west side, to spot 124 and into D30. One thing about DFW Airport, we have spots, and air traffic control, the ground controllers don't care about what gate you're going to. They want to know what spot you're going to. So you got the little yellow numbers there, 124, 142, yada, yada, yada. On the west side, they're over 100 and over. On the east side, they're 1 through, I think, 50. But you get the spot from the RAM controller, and you tell that to the ground controller. Something unique about DFW. But went outside and waited for the D South bus. Hopped on board, started my car because it's a little warm in Texas, and headed home from this trip pretty fairly awake, I must say. All right, we're going to try this audio. We'll see if it works or not. Hey, so 3-day trip is done. Amsterdam to Dallas. Not exhausted. And I'm normally exhausted when I do the flight 51 from London, I'm exhausted when I get back because it has like an 11 p.m. Dallas time wake up call. Didn't have that on this one because okay, today was a midnight Dallas time wake up call, right? It's an hour difference, but it made a difference. I also get a longer break on this flight.
we had just over 4 hours on my break. So that was a good thing. Just reviewing the trip in my head as I drive home. We got to the airport. The plane came in late, like it came in late yesterday. So we got to the airport. We had plenty of time to do whatever we wanted to do, as far as getting food, especially for the flight attendants because they don't get meals. Um, One interesting thing, I appreciate the security in Amsterdam. I won't get into it, but they are very nice. It's a very pleasant experience going through security as crew in Amsterdam. Much better than London, better than United States. They are a very nice airport. Um, we left the gate late, of course, and interesting there was a briefing item during our leaving our gate. They have one-way taxiways out of the gate area, so that was different. You know, we don't normally encounter one-way taxi lines in the United States. Uh, bumpy climb out. It was the captain's first time ever taking off in a real plane. Bumpy climb out. He handled it fine, and I went back to my break pretty quickly once we cleared 10,000 feet. I slept in the bunk. The other FO, the FC, he chose the chair. He's a very senior FO. Again, he can hold captain. Him and the chair cameraman were hired on the same day. Very close in seniority. He's been on 777 for a long time. I think, good Lord, 15 years maybe. So, anyways, he can sleep anywhere. So he slept in the chair. I was in the bunk. Of that 4 hours in my bunk, I probably slept for about 2 hours, 45 minutes. You know, I woke up a few times, used the restroom, but good break. I went up front. I was in the captain's seat as the FB, the first relief pilot. The other FO was in charge. He was senior. Makes sense to me. Came up just past. Well, we were still over on the track on the random route anyway, coming into the North America, and pretty easy flight. We did have an issue though. About 2 hours into my shift, maybe an hour and a half into my shift, out of nowhere, at 38,000 feet, we developed a very high pitched squeal on the FO side, like really high pitched, annoyingly high pitched. And the FO instantly put on his shoulder harnesses. He's like, "I'm not gonna be pulled out of this airplane," in case we had a pressurization leak. We checked the pressurization. It was holding fine. It's just a really annoying squeal, to the point where we each put in earplugs to get over the squeal. Kept an eye on everything. We weren't losing pressure. There's something somewhere gave out, and we had a squeal either inside or outside the airplane. We couldn't tell where it was coming from. But it lasted all the way to we were in the teens on the descent into Dallas. Otherwise, the flight was benign. Had my crew meal. It was okay. Had some of it anyway. Then Captain, again, his first time ever descending in the real plane. Handled it well. Landed on 17 center. He made a spectacular landing for his first landing. Even for his 10th landing, didn't matter. But his first landing, creased it right on the 17 center. Long taxi over to the Delta gates, spot 124, into the gate. A few minutes late, but it was fine. And we are done. I am on reserve tomorrow. I don't think I'll be used. I hope I won't be used, but I am on reserve tomorrow. Then I'm off for a couple days. All right. The video continues.
I got home, went inside, and handed over the chocolate to my wife. She only eats milk chocolate, and I'm pretty sure at least one of these is milk chocolate from the Netherlands. I was alert enough to not need a nap the rest of the day, and I was even able to attend my oldest daughter's marching band practice that evening at a local stadium. As far as the numbers go, again, I'm on reserve, so this is what I get as a line holder. My pay as a pilot is very complicated. The trip was worth $5,610.70, my hourly wage. We have international pay here, it's worth $98, and international per diem was worth $161.50. Again, the per diem and the international pay, I get straight money. The hourly pay is absorbed into my reserve guarantee for the month. But anyways, the next day I was able to sell my car to CarMax, and now I'll be driving a Chevrolet Equinox EV. It's a fun little car, much less expensive than the Ioniq 5 was. Again, the Ioniq 5 was a great car as well. If you don't mind, will you subscribe, like, comment, or you can do none of those. Either way, I thank you for stopping by. Have an absolutely wonderful day.